Now at 5, Missouri lawmakers advance a bill that would ban texting while driving for everyone. Plus, the story of how quick thinking from healthcare professionals helped save the life of a fellow employee having a heart attack.
Nearly 3 weeks since the Ohio train derailment, today we're getting a better idea of what led up to the crash. I'm Nicole D'Antonio on Capitol Hill with details on Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg making his first trip to the area.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Drivers in Missouri could soon be banned from texting while driving, no matter their age. This is KOAM News at 5. I'm Dow Quick. The Missouri Senate has advanced a bill that would ban drivers, regardless of their age, from reading, sending, or writing a text by handheld devices. Currently, any drivers under 22 years old are not allowed to use their phones and can be stopped and given a citation. The ban would not apply to law enforcement or individuals using hands-free voice-activated mode.
Distracted driving is a huge contributing factor in our fatal crashes and injury crashes, and especially at highway speeds. If you look down at your phone and you're driving 55 miles an hour, I mean, you're covering the distance of a football field in just a matter of a few seconds.
The bill was approved with bipartisan support in the Senate Transportation, Infrastructure, and Public Safety Committee. The City of Joplin has officially opened its nominations for its Historic Preservation Awards. Nominations are accepted in 3 categories: the Leslie Simpson Award, the Jeff and Carolina Neal Award, and the Murfreesburg Award. You can find nomination forms through the city's website. The nominating period is open through March 31st. It's National FFA Week, and McDonald County Schools are celebrating with a luncheon. FFA, of course, stands for Future Farmers of America. Today, FFA students were treated to a lunch in the high school ag building to thank them all for their hard work.
It gives us a chance to meet the new transfers into our ag program, meet some of the students we hadn't quite met yet, and it's the unofficial kickoff for our contest season.
All this week, FFA students have been taking part in different dress-up events, including a flannel shirt day, dress up as their future career, and wearing all blue. Meteorologist Sam Lane joins us now with a first look at the weather.
Thank you very much, Dow. It's been a beautiful day. On the chilly side, though, but lots of sunshine. Radar is clear right now over our area. Down to the south, they had a few showers earlier this morning. Still some going on in western Arkansas. But here we've seen a dramatic change in temperatures. Yesterday we were in the 60s, and then we took this nosedive down into the 20s. And today we've struggled to get into the 30s. And this evening we're going to see temperatures dropping through the 30s all the way down to around 20 degrees by tomorrow morning. But there is some warmer weather on the way. That's for Friday, cloudy on Saturday, some Sunday showers, but then a pretty stormy Monday morning. And I'll tell you all about that in our forecast when we come back in just a little bit.
See you soon. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg is on the ground at the scene of that toxic train derailment in Ohio and meeting with frustrated residents. The National Transportation Safety Board today revealed it's looking at a wheel bearing in the final stages of overheat failure just moments before the crash. Reporter Nicole D'Antonio has more from the White House, where the Biden administration has faced criticism for not visiting sooner.
On his first visit to the Ohio crash site, Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg saw the broken and burned remains of the derailed Norfolk Southern freight train.
We're going to be here day in, day out, year in, year out, making our railroads safer and making sure Norfolk Southern meets its responsibilities.
Buttigieg addressed criticism for not coming to East Palestine sooner.
I felt strongly about this and could have expressed that sooner. Again, I was taking pains to respect the role that I have and the role that I don't have, but that should not have stopped me.
On Thursday, the National Transportation Safety Board released a preliminary report saying the train crew did not get an early warning about an overheating axle just before the disaster. The report says the train was traveling just below the speed limit of 50 miles an hour as it flew off the tracks, and the crew then alerted dispatch of a possible derailment.
The report does not contain a probable cause. That comes at the end of the investigation. It contains only factual information collected during the on-scene portion of this investigation. But I can tell you this much, this was 100% preventable.
Here in Washington, the NTSB also announced this spring in East Palestine, the agency will hold what it calls a rare investigative field hearing, including witnesses.
I'm afraid of the chemicals coming here and the after effects, and you don't know.
Activist Aaron Brockovich is set to visit the area tomorrow and meet with local residents. Nicole D'Antonio, CBS News, Washington.
Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro's administration has made a criminal referral of Norfolk Southern to the state attorney general's office. In Central Florida, a teenager is in jail accused of killing a 9-year-old girl and a local TV news reporter, 24-year-old Dylan Lyons. The Orange County Sheriff says it happened near the scene of another murder allegedly committed by the same suspect, 19-year-old Keith Melvin Moses. The reporter was there covering that crime. A photojournalist and the girl's mother were also shot. The war in Ukraine is about to enter its second year, and Russia might be seeking help from China. That country's top diplomat met with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Moscow yesterday. Putin said he's looking forward to a visit from the Chinese President Xi Jinping. U.S. officials are believed to be concerned about China's closer ties to Russia. A little bit later, car crash test results.
A new study reveals which automakers have the safest cars. I'm Dina Demetrius, and I'll tell you who made the list.
And next in Health Watch, a mother's advice for women after she was diagnosed with congenital heart disease while pregnant. Topping today's Health Watch, when Rick Moore, the capital acquisitions coordinator for Freeman Health, was feeling anxious, lightheaded, and suffering from acid reflux pain, he drove to Freeman Urgent Care in Webb City to get checked out. After undergoing an EKG at the clinic, the doctor told him he was having a heart attack. Specifically, he was in the early stages of a widowmaker heart attack, which occurs when there's full blockage of the heart's main left arteries. The Freeman doctors saved his life. Moore is sharing his story since February is American Heart Month.
A lot of times are the elephant sitting on your chest, your left arm in a vice, profuse sweating. I didn't have that. I had the what I thought was acid reflux. That's why I really wasn't overly concerned until it progressively became worse. So I guess a takeaway from this is, you've got to follow what your body tells you to do. God gave you brain and common sense for a reason. Act on it.
Only 12% of people who suffer this type of heart attack outside the hospital survive. Rick was one of them. More expectant mothers are being diagnosed with a congenital heart disease. Reporter Michael George shares one woman's survival story and how going to the doctor saved her life and her baby's.
Marion Smith is a yoga instructor, so when she was 2 months pregnant and found herself struggling to breathe, she knew something was terribly wrong.
I couldn't really go anywhere outside of my apartment because I'd be so short of breath. I couldn't run anymore. I couldn't do yoga without feeling faint.
Marion went to see cardiologist Dan Halpern at NYU Langone Health. The diagnosis shocked her. Congenital heart disease, a tiny hole in her heart. Dr. Halpern says she needed treatment.
The procedure itself was done with the minimal amount of radiation that could be used for it, and there was also fetal baby protection.
Surgeons used a catheter to repair the hole when she was 18 weeks along.
How have you felt since the procedure?
Amazing. It was like a breath of fresh air. Even when I came to, I knew that in a couple weeks I will be feeling better and I can celebrate my pregnancy and I can have the delivery that I wanted.
A few months later, she gave birth to a healthy boy, Edenara. Her pregnancy helped reveal a heart problem that can go undetected, causing 150,000 strokes a year.
Nowadays, congenital heart disease is among the most prevalent conditions that young women of childbearing age could have.
Dr. Halpern advises expectant mothers to see a doctor if they experience shortness of breath, chest pain, or heart palpitations. Marion hopes others learn from her experience.
If something doesn't feel right, speak up, advocate for yourself, get your heart checked, don't ignore it.
Proactive steps that could save 2 lives. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
About 1 in 4 people are born with a similar hole in their heart, but in most cases it doesn't cause any health issues and requires no treatment. Patients with Parkinson's disease showed a significant improvement in their tremors and other symptoms after undergoing a procedure that delivers focused ultrasound. Researchers at the University of Maryland say 2/3 of patients who successfully responded to the minimally invasive treatment continue to have reduced symptoms a year later. The regular use of laxatives might be linked to an increased risk of cognitive decline. A study in the journal Neurology found people who regularly use the treatments, which are commonly used to help with constipation, might have more than a 50% increased risk of dementia. And that is a look at today's health news. A little bit later, a look at some of the new guidelines the FDA is considering issuing for milk alternatives.
And we're going to have a wild swing in temperatures and weather conditions over the next few days. I'll tell you all about it in a forecast when we come back. Well, friends, yesterday we were in the 60s. Today, not so much. We were in the 30s most of the day and down into the teens earlier this morning. Right now, a beautiful sky out there at the Indigo Sky Casino and Resort in Seneca, Missouri. But even with the bright sunshine, temperatures remained in the 30s. Just kind of goes to show you what can happen this time of year. In fact, we made it up to 41, which was actually earlier. 25 the low. Average this time of year is 52 and 31. The records 83 not that long ago in 2017 and 8 degrees back in 1989. At least we're ahead on the rainfall. And speaking of rainfall, there are some showers down in Arkansas this evening. West central Arkansas extending on over towards Mountain Home. Even some sleet earlier down in Podo with this shower activity was down in eastern Oklahoma. Now we're seeing temperatures in the 30s, but this morning we started out in the teens, especially off towards the north and west, where it's 15 in Yates Center, 16 in Garnett, 18 in Chanute, in the mid-20s here in the metro area. And this afternoon, we crawled up into the 20s, into the lower 30s. Right now, we're right at or just a little bit above freezing across the area, which is about 30 degrees colder tonight than we were 24 hours ago. So it has been a dramatic change, to say the least. And when you factor in the wind, it feels like it's in the 20s right now, even the lower 20s up in Iola, with it feeling like 21. And by tomorrow morning, we're going to feel temperatures in the single digits. So it's going to be pretty chilly once again tomorrow, especially in the morning with those single digit wind chills. Right now in Joplin, it's 35, northwest wind at 8, so it feels like 29 out there. In Pittsburgh, we're currently seeing that north wind as well, and it's 33 degrees, and so it feels like 26 out there, and the pressure is 30.30. Now, tonight we're going to see mostly fair skies with temperatures dropping down into the teens and 20s once again with northeasterly winds. Then as we go through the day tomorrow, we'll see maybe a spattering or two of showers, maybe a mixture up towards the north and west, but it's not going to last that long, and it's going to be very isolated with temperatures in the low to mid 40s. Then as we go through Saturday, we're going to see temperatures in the 30s with light and variable winds. And then Saturday afternoon, we'll see temperatures crawling up into the 40s and 50s on south winds. Then as we go into Sunday morning, we'll see a few more showers across the area with temperatures in the upper 40s to lower 50s ahead of that next storm system. In fact, the storm system on the west coast right now, for the first time ever, San Diego is issuing blizzard warnings for the southern mountains of Southern California. That system will pull out into the plains. And what do you think is going to happen when this cold air starts interacting with this warm air across the plains? Yep, you guessed it, stormy weather, and that's expected for Sunday night into Monday morning. Some of those storms could be severe, even tornadic, out towards the west. I don't think that's going to be a threat here, but we're going to have to watch it pretty closely. Rainfall amounts are going to be generous with this next storm system. And taking a look at the next 7 days, here we go. Get a hold of the roller coaster because we're going to be seeing temperatures wildly swinging. 47 tomorrow, 67 by Sunday with those storms late Sunday and early Monday. Some of those could be severe. Then we stay in the 60s for Tuesday and Wednesday, but then look at Thursday. A chance of winter mix with temperatures down into the 30s and 40s. So it's going to be a wild week.
I guess spring will get here eventually.
Eventually, that's right.
Thanks, Dan. Let's take a look at that massive winter storm that's sweeping across the country. It's threatening 76 million people in 26 states. In some places, temperatures are 40 degrees below average for the day. Parts of Minnesota are looking up to 18 inches of snow. An ice storm further east forced nearly 5,000 flights to be canceled or delayed yesterday. Coming up, we're going to check out the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety's new list of the safest vehicles. Topping today's Consumer Watch, the Food and Drug Administration is concerned with making sure consumers know what is actually in milk alternatives. The agency issued draft guidance that recommends including a nutrient statement on such products on how they compare to dairy milk. An example might be something like contains lower amounts of vitamin D and calcium than milk. The FDA has been working on improving information on milk alternatives since 2018. The Dole Foods Company had to temporarily shut down production plants in North America 2 weeks ago due to a cyber attack. A source says it was a ransomware attack specifically. Ransomware attacks have been targeting the food and agricultural sector in the last 2 years. Back in 2021, the world's largest meat supplier, JBS, had to close factories in the U.S., Canada, and Australia before it paid hackers $11 million in ransom. The Insurance Institute for Highway Safety is out with its list of safest vehicles. Reporter Dina Demetrius explains why fewer models made the grade this year.
The Insurance Institute for Highway Safety destroys dozens of cars to find out how they protect those inside. Now the IIHS is revealing which models earn a top pick. To make the grade, vehicles have to perform well in crash tests, have technology to avoid crashes, and help drivers see the road clearly. This year, only 48 vehicles earned a top safety pick or Safety Pick Plus award.
It is quite the drop from last year. Last year at this time, we had a little over 100 winners.
But IIHS President David Harkey says it's not so much that the cars have changed, it's because his group has made the safety testing process more rigorous. For example, the side crash test now uses a bigger barrier that mimics the larger pickups and SUVs on the road today.
The vehicle must also achieve an advanced or a superior rating in both the daytime and nighttime front crash prevention tests for pedestrians. And then finally, that vehicle must have those good or acceptable headlights.
Among automakers, the Toyota Corporation, which includes Lexus, came out on top with 15 top safety awards. Honda, which also owns Acura, was next, and Mazda came in third.
One of the things we do anticipate is we will add vehicles to this list as we go through the year, as we test more vehicles, and as automakers make changes to their vehicles.
Harkey says car companies that didn't make the grade are already adapting to the more difficult tests, and he anticipates more vehicles will earn top picks next year. Dina Demetrius, CBS News, Los Angeles.
President Biden has nominated former MasterCard CEO Jay Banga to lead the World Bank. The World Bank is a group of 187 nations that lends money to developing countries to help reduce poverty. As the largest shareholder, the U.S. traditionally appoints its president. The White House says Banga has extensive experience addressing climate change and financial inclusion. He'll replace President David Malpass, who is stepping down 4 years into his 5-year term. Have some unused gift cards still laying around from Christmas? Well, apparently you are not the only one. According to a new survey of more than 1,200 Americans, nearly 2/3 have at least one unspent gift card. The survey from online financial advisory services provider Credit Summit found at least half of those surveyed admitted losing a gift card before they used it. A majority of survey respondents said their unredeemed gift cards were worth $200 or less. A final check of the forecast next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, a look at the preparedness of the U.S. military for a potential conflict with China. Then on KOAM News at 6, we're going to have more on a bill in Missouri that would ban texting and driving for people of all ages. Plus, details on another bill in Missouri that would reduce personal property taxes. And the Chinook girls wrestling team competes for a state title. We're going to have the highlights. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. Might get some more rain ahead.
I think so. We're going to have some rain showers over the weekend, but the better chance of rain is going to be Sunday night into Monday. Some of those could be strong to severe. And then another possible winter mix-like situation into Thursday. So a little bit of a roller coaster this week on the forecast.
Yes, so. Thanks for joining us. The CBS Evening News is next. And of course, we're going to be right back here for KOAM News at 6. We'll see you then. Let's make it a great evening.